I almost never chase trains, but on the weekend of the 21st of February, that all changed. On the weekend of February 21st, 2026, Railfanning really wasn't in our plans for the weekend. However, after we wrapped up with family in Dallas on Saturday, we realized we still had ample daylight left, and so on our way back, we decided to see if we could catch a train and see if it was chaseable. As we were crossing the tracks in Lancaster, we saw headlights, and so we figured it was best to stop at the crossing and start recording. What we saw next was either exciting or really boring, depending on how you are. Should have gotten the other one so I wouldn't have to hold this thing up. That's a cool sounding horn. Yeah, it might be a little strange having my favorite air horn ever being a K5HL, and a fouled one at that, but to me at least, this sounded really good, and I really wanted to chase this train. What happened next was actually pretty cool. Oh yeah, that happened. After this.
Straight to 8, don't be late.
You can call me a foamer all you want, but for all I care, getting a horn show with the best, terrible sounding horn is a complete win. Actually, as a matter of fact, I was not the only one there. AG All The Way was also there, and so I figured I would include her side of the tracks as well. Her recording was pretty good, and she also caught the horn show, so here it is. Do with this what you will, just don't steal it, please. we could have absolutely continued chasing this train, and I wanted to. However, we got word from our family in Dallas that I left something, including my camera equipment, so we kind of had to go back before going home, and by that point we wouldn't have enough daylight left to continue railfanning. I was pretty pissed that we couldn't continue chasing this train, especially with the friendly crew. However, you can't always plan for this stuff in life. After all, the very next day we would also have our fair shot in the morning as well. Stay tuned for that. On the drive back from Dallas after picking up my camera equipment and other stuff, we decided that we needed another shot, and so the very next morning on the 22nd at 7 a.m., we headed out to Waxahachie, and it didn't take long for us to find another train. As it turns out, when we got down to downtown Waxahachie approaching the Diamond, we already had a train waiting for us, and the power on the head end was nothing short of incredible. Leading the train was an unrebuilt AC-44 in early paint. Behind it was a Thunder Cab, and 2 early Gevos were trailing behind that. Pretty interesting how this works out. It's like the Yardmaster just said, "Here you go, all rail fans," and threw this at us. I'm gonna have to stop the show right here, though. This guy immediately hammered the throttle as soon as he got out of Waxahachie, and so trying to chase this guy was going to be difficult. But that didn't stop us from trying, and it actually worked. After this childish display of whatever, I managed to catch one of the best shots of a train passing by ever. Unfortunately, due to how fast and how long this train was, we couldn't continue on trying to chase it. So we decided to head back to downtown Waxahachie by the Diamond and see if we could catch anything else before I had to go. So, that's exactly what we did. The very next train we caught was a unit train of some sort that we see a lot around here. The power was kind of boring actually, but it was still a pretty good angle, so I decided to put it in the video. The last train of the day would be pretty cool as far as power goes. I'm pretty sure it's a grain train, but I do not know about that, and I also don't know why I would be heading in this direction. That said, it also had a pretty questionable thing in the middle as well, so yeah. Also, the DPU is pretty cool.
No thank you.
Questionable graffiti aside, we saw the DPU shortly after. It was an unrebuilt AC6000, which I always love to see. Unfortunately, after this, it was getting pretty close to around 10 a.m., and I was going to have to leave shortly thereafter. However, we could have easily stayed if it weren't for the fact that I had to go back to Forney. Also, on our way out of Waxahachie, we saw what I can only describe as pure comedy gold. Take with this what you will. Okay, so while pulling in so we can swap drivers so I can drive home, we saw pure comedy gold. A pink Tesla Cybertruck with the wavy guy with coconuts and coffee. What is this?